Welcome to the Line Life podcast. I'm Jeff Postlethwaite, Senior Editor of T&D World, and today we're bringing you more stories of the grit, courage, and inspirational teamwork that it takes to be a line worker.
Hi, my name is Amy Fishbach, Field Editor of T&D World magazine and host of the Line Life podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Before we begin our episode for today, I'd love to invite you to become part of our Line Life podcast community by following the Line Life podcast in your favorite podcasting app or going to linelife.podbean.com. For this episode, we're shining the spotlight on the International Lineman's Rodeo and one of the competitors, David Hernandez of Pedernales Electric Cooperative in Texas. I met David at the 2024 International Lineman's Expo and thoroughly enjoyed hearing about his career in the line trade and his experiences at the International Lineman's Rodeo. This event brings line workers from all over the world to Kansas City for one special week in October to learn about tools and technology at the Lineman's Expo, safety and training at the annual conference, and also gives them the opportunity to compete at the International Lineman's Rodeo, which is held every year in Bonner Springs, Kansas. I hope by listening to this interview, it will get you excited for this year's International Lineman's Rodeo. And if you're planning to come to Kansas City for the event, make sure you come see me in the T&D World booth, where I'll be conducting more interviews for the Line Life podcast. Over the next few months, you'll be able to hear more interviews like this that I conducted at the 2024 International Lineman's Expo with some movers and shakers in the line trade. Now let's listen in on my interview with David Hernandez, who I also featured in the June Line Worker Focus Department in the print T&D World magazine and also on our website. If you know of a journeyman line worker who we should profile on our Line Life podcast or in T&D World magazine, make sure you send me an email with their name, title, and what makes them stand out from the rest of the crew. You can shoot me an email at euoeditor@endeavorb2b.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, or you could message me on Instagram at Lineman World. I look forward to hearing from you. Also, any apprentices or journeymen who are featured in our Faces of the Future or Line Worker Focus Department receive a free tool package from Milwaukee Tool for their dedication to the line trade. Let's work together to put hardworking men and women who work on the line in the spotlight. Now let's move on to my interview with David Hernandez. David, thank you so much for joining us for the Line Life podcast. It's great to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, can you talk about where you were born and grew up and how you got inspired to have a career in the line trade?
So I was actually born in San Antonio, Texas, but I grew up in a small town called Lavernia, which is just about 30 miles east of San Antonio. When I was in high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was always interested in the electric field. So my ag teacher actually showed me and introduced me to the electric cooperative that was in that area, which was Guadalupe Valley Electric Cooperative. So right out of high school, I turned 18. A week later, I graduated. And a week after that, I was an apprentice at GVEC, where I did my apprenticeship program and made journeyman there. I worked there for about 22 years. And then I ended up leaving there. And then I came to Pedernales in 2020. So I've been there just over 4.
Can you talk about the early part of your career? What were some of your responsibilities when you were just starting out?
So when I first started off, I was on a digger truck or a boom truck where we went out. I was on a line crew. So, I mean, I really didn't know anything about the electric utility industry. So it was all new to me. But I had some really good teachers coming up, and I was kind of the kid. I kept my mouth shut and did what I was told. So I got in the apprenticeship program and went through all that. We would go out, build single phase jobs. I primarily started off just doing overhead work. And as I progressed, we did a little bit of underground troubleshooting. We actually at that time had an underground crew that's all they did. So I didn't had to get a lot of hands on with underground till I was later in my career. But yeah, we'd go out and, I was raised in the country. So all our jobs were rural area. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And it was close to my hometown. So, I mean, I knew a lot of the people, so it worked out really well for me. But yeah, a lot of groundwork at first. At that time, when I started, I had to wait a year before they would let me go to climbing school. And well, at that time, we were still free climbing. So after I was there for a year, they sent me to a climbing school in San Antonio. And came back and I was a certified climber. And in those days, being a lot younger, I enjoyed it. That was like my favorite part of the job, was just being able to climb poles, because to me, at that age, it was like, that's like the one thing that separated us from any other industry, is
Yes.
the climbing poles.
Mhm.
So I enjoyed that. And I was probably there for about 3 years as an apprentice. And I was introduced to the rodeo. No idea. I had some older journeymen ask me if I wanted to be a groundman for them. So I was like, sure. I didn't know what I was getting my hands into. So I did it and I was hooked.
That's awesome. And then talk about what a day in the life is like for you right now as a journeyman lineman.
So now I'm actually a regional operations supervisor. So I'm a
Okay.
supervisor on an overhead crew, but we do overhead and underground. Basically, my job entails is, I get my stack of jobs and we kind of go through them and figure out which direction. We try to work where we're not doing a lot of road time, driving a lot. So, but we go out, a lot of residential jobs. We get, building the new services to new homes. We do some maintenance, changing out poles, depending on what it is. And then we do like bigger, like reconducts. It's just whatever's coming up, that's what we do. And then I'm not anymore, but, we're on call. Our guys go on call every so many weeks and then, work storm outages. And being that I'm a supervisor now, I can come in and I help out storms, stuff like that.
So, what was it like for you to go from working in the field to all of a sudden being a leader in the line trade? What was that experience like?
It's a little bit different. I've always, I was told a long time ago, like everybody wants to be a boss till they have to slide into that driver's seat and be the boss. And you really don't know how you're going to handle certain situations till you're put in those situations. I've been lucky that I was trained, I was taught how to be a leader, and I've done a lot of different training classes. I guess the hardest part for me being a leader is learning people's personalities, because everybody's just different. So everybody learns different, wants to be taught different. And that's come as I'm older. Like
Sure.
now I see it, and especially with kids, all your kids' personalities. And so it's the same thing in the line, department. So that's probably the hardest transition. And the biggest thing for me is just making sure my guys get to go home.
Yes.
I was involved in a situation 19 years ago that one of my good friends didn't get to go home, and it's stuck in the back of my head. And I think about it every day. Actually, Saturday will be 19 years.
19 years.
And it's just, it's hard, because, you build relationships with these guys and, you learn their personal lives. And then it is a brotherhood. These guys are like your brothers. And you just want to make sure that they get to go home. So that's probably the hardest part about being a supervisor, is it's your responsibility. So we make sure we try to do everything as safe as possible and get it done in a timely manner.
Thank you so much for sharing that story with me, David. And I'm really sorry to hear about your good friend. And I'm glad that you're doing everything you can to keep your crew members safe in the field. And then what do you think are some of the challenges and rewards of working in the line trade?
The biggest rewards for me is just when you close in that fuse barrel and the lights come on. And, people have been out of power, we're out there working in all kinds of weather, and getting that for the public is a big reward. And to me, it's a good industry to be in just because it's not going away.
Right.
We're needed all the time, and it's a fun job. I mean, honestly, we get to do a lot of stuff that normal people don't get to do. But you're out with a group of guys building jobs, and it's fun to me, to be able to work with your hands and have a little bit of fun while you're out there,
And then what about storms, David? What kind of storms usually come through Texas? And what is one of your most memorable storms?
So for me, we get a lot of lightning storms, some tornadoes, not a whole lot, but we've had some flooding in the years. I guess my most memorable storm was, I'd only been working at the co-op for like 4 months. I really didn't know a whole lot. It was in 1998 and we had a flood. And we got like 18 inches of rain one night, and it flooded, just a devastation, and everything that was destroyed was just, it stuck with my head. And I think that's when I started realizing that I do want to do this, that I do enjoy helping people and getting them power and, doing whatever we can to help them out. I've worked some hurricanes in the past, and, you're out in different parts of the state or, just helping out with storm restoration, and just the acknowledgement and the thankfulness that people give you. It's a big reward for me, and I enjoy that, just having that.
So now let's talk about the International Lineman's Rodeo. How long have you been competing?
So I've been involved with internationals since the year 2000. And yes, we'll be competing Saturday. So for us at Pedernales, we have an internal rodeo where we compete, and then that allows us that we take the top so many teams to Texas. So we competed this year in internals, and we won our internal rodeo. So then we got to go to Texas, and then we took the top 3 teams from PEC that won. Well, we won Texas. So Darren and I, we won Texas back to back.
Oh, okay.
So it's been fun. But the thing I enjoy about internationals is just the vast amount of people and people from all over the state and some countries. And, you got people that come from, overseas. It's just really cool.
What's your favorite part of International Lineman's Rodeo Week?
My favorite part? I guess it's just actual rodeo. It's like, I'm always nervous, before the rodeo starts, but once you put your first foot in the pole, it's like it all goes away. And just being able to compete and be part of it and say you were part of it, and just the camaraderie you get from meeting all these people is probably my favorite.
That's wonderful. And then what is one of your most memorable experiences from the rodeo since you've been coming for a while?
Oh, I have a couple, but my first one was in 2005 when we won co-op.
Oh,
we'd been up here so many years and never did.
Mm-hmm.
And then the team I was on, we won the co-op division, and it just blew my mind. It's just like it was like it was possible. I never thought it would be possible, and then it was. And then in 21, we were second place overall here. That was a big stepping stone for us to cross that and do as well as we did.
Congratulations. That's a really big honor. So how did it feel to walk across the stage when your name was called?
Oh, the first time I didn't even really hear it. I was so excited. I vaguely remember them calling my name. But, now with video cameras and iPhones, and you can keep track of everything and record every part of it. So it was awesome. And then I got to do it. My kids were here. My kids got to watch. My youngest got to walk with me.
Oh, I love that.
So it was a lot of fun.
So talk about your kids. How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
So my oldest will actually be 13 on Tuesday. And then I have a 11-year-old boy. So my oldest is Lane, who'll be 13. And then I got Jacob, he's 11. My daughter, Kaylin, is 9. And then I have a 4-year-old that's fixing to be 5 next month. Yeah.
And then, David, what do you like to do in your free time, if you have any free time?
If I have free time, probably fishing, and my boy's involved in sports, so I enjoy going to watch him and coach him and help him out. I think that's what I really do in my free time.
Perfect. And then do you want to give a shout out to anyone in particular on this Line Life podcast episode?
I just want to tell my family, thanks for coming and supporting me, being up here, my wife and my kids. And I want to tell Lane, happy birthday on Tuesday. And I hope it's a good year for us.
That's great. Well, David, thank you so much for joining us for the Line Life podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we go, I'd love to give a shout out to the Pedernales Electric Cooperative competitors at the 2024 International Lineman's Rodeo. Apprentice lineworker Zach Goff, who we have featured in our Faces of the Future podcast series and department in the magazine, earned first place in the overall apprentice category, as well as first in the Rural Electric Administration, or REA, division. And he also placed second in the written test category and fourth in the Hurt Man Rescue. To listen to my interview with Zachary, make sure you go to linelife.podbean.com. Also, David Hernandez and his team of Darren Donhauser and Michael Thyberg won fourth place in the REA division and fifth place in the Hurt Man Rescue. Congratulations to all of these competitors, and we really look forward to seeing you at the 2025 International Lineman's Rodeo this October in Kansas City. Thank you so much for listening to the Line Life Podcast.
This episode of the Line Life Podcast was written, recorded, and edited by Amy Fishbach. It was produced by Jeff Postlethwaite. That's me. To listen to past episodes, visit www.tdworld.com/podcasts or find us at Podbean. You can also drop us a voice memo or message at linelifepodcast@gmail.com with your comments on this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Please follow this show on Podbean or your favorite podcasting app to be updated when new episodes are released. Thank you for listening.